Good afternoon. Jeff Dawson here, June 29, 2020. This weekend, I started doing some search on articles just to see what was floating around, and I came across one written by John Steigerwald of TRIB Live. What the article is about is the Niners organization has decided to fly a BLM flag along with the state of California and the United States flag. The article basically wants to know, is this a good idea or is it not? Now, this was my initial response to it. This is a bad idea. You make excellent valid points on why it should not fly. But we're in a world of spineless sheep looking to be PC. Sports is the only avenue we have together where we can escape from the daily grind and bombardment of the technological intrusion. It's a place people can come together and band together for a common cause. The advent of politics into sports will take that away, and not in a good way. I predict agitators from both sides will take it as an opportunity to create more strife and friction. The last two major powers that politicized sports were the USSR and Germany. Is that really where we want to go? And in regards to the last two, pull up some old films of the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany. Look at the Olympics that were held in Germany in '36. The flags are everywhere. The military was everywhere. This was Hitler showing the world what he had done for Germany in 3 short years. Remember, he became chancellor in '33. And economically, they made great strides. This was his time to showpiece the new Germany to the world. Yeah, then here came Jesse Owens. That kind of destroyed the master race, didn't it? And you look at the old USSR films. Hammer and sickle are everywhere. You can't get away from it. When the national anthem was played, you better believe every Russian stood up and they sang. Because to not sing the national anthem, to not stand for the national anthem, was a crime against the state. And their leaders had no problem with dealing with dissidents. You either disappeared or went to Siberia, and nobody raised a finger. Now, after that comment, there were a host of others. And those that were for flying the flag basically called out everyone that didn't like it, that they were race mongers, and it was hard to look through that pointy white hat, and you need to get your head out of the sand or out of your ass. Just take your choice. So I went through all the posts, and I wanted to get an idea of where we were at. 13 were for the Niners flying the BLM flag. 16 were against it, and 2 were undecided. Now, you hear about polls today, and the current ones have Biden leading by 14%. Okay, I don't put a lot of stock in polls. But what I see right here is a very close reflection on what we're going to see in the coming election. Now, that's making an assumption that those that are for it will vote for Biden, those against it will vote for Trump, and then you have the independents. that aren't sure. Now, the last comment that I made on this post, and this is why I don't want politics in sports. Who out there remembers Steve Bartman? You're going to have to go back a few years. If you don't know the name, look him up. He was a loyal Cubs fan. The Chicago Cubs actually looked like they were headed to the World Series. They just had to get past the Florida Marlins. Everything was going their way until a ball is hit down the left field line. It looks like Manny Mota's got a chance to catch it. And it also looks like the fans have a chance to catch it. ESPN has done 2 30 for 30s and then one follow-up that they wanted to talk to Bartman again, and he pretty well told them he was done and just leave him alone. So you have 4 to 6 fans watching the flight of this ball coming in the stadium, and it's right on the line. Four to six people are trying to catch this ball. Is it in the field of play or is it in the stadium? This has been deduced, discussed, dissected. Even I believe there were some physics guys that broke it all down to show where the ball was in relation to the field and Mota and the fans. If the ball is in fair territory and the fans interfere, it is the umpire's discretion to call the batter out. If the ball is at the handrail or beyond, that is fan territory and everything is fair game. So what happened? Well, it wasn't good for Steve Bartman. There was a reporter down there from the local news station who pointed to Bartman. And this is where it went nuts. The cameras focused in on him because a reporter pointed a finger in an accusing manner at Steve Bartman. He had his Walkman on. He didn't realize what was going on around him. And it wasn't good. And now they keep showing it over and over and over and over. And the next thing Steve knows is he is being bombarded with beer and food, and so are the fans around him. And it gets so bad that security finally comes down and has to escort him out of the stadium down to their headquarters because the mob mentality has taken over. Now that's just a foul ball. They blame Bartman for the Cubs giving up 7 runs in that inning. They don't want to talk about all the errors that the Cubs made during the game because, they actually imploded. They absolutely collapsed. It was an epic collapse. But Bartman was blamed for the Cubs not going to the World Series. Now, this is why. This was a baseball game. This was a foul ball, and 40,000 fans turned on this kid, and hell, the Chicago police had to set units up at his house to protect him from all the death threats he was getting and what these people were going to do. And you can find what callers were saying on the radio stations. They wanted him tarred and feathered, skinned alive, hung from the tallest tree. It was horrendous. And they were all Cub fans. guess what? You throw politics into the stadium, it's going to be 40,000 times worse. For you college football fans, OU Texas, a heated rivalry. Oklahoma State, OU, it'd be a heated rivalry, but we can't seem to win a game to save our lives, and if they won every game to tie up the series, I would probably be 127. I don't think I'm going to be around another 67 years. But that's a heated rivalry. Michigan State, Ohio, 105,000 fans, or 110,000. Very heated. Florida, Florida State, Oregon State. No, I'm not that familiar with how intense that is, but you get the drift. These people are passionate about supporting their team. I went to many OSU-OU games, and I actually went to one OU-Texas game. I just don't tell a lot of people about that. But the fans are fanatic. Now, in today's world, you bring politics into that stadium, and you're there with your friends, and we'll say you're conservative, and there's some fans around you, and during the game that you're enjoying, you get this question of, do you support BLM? Man, I'm watching the baseball game. I don't care, and no, I really don't support them. And I go back to my beer and my hot dog and keeping score. Well, the person that asked me that question is not happy. And then if he has like-minded friends around him, you think he's going to let that go? Look at what's going on in the streets. The focus will no longer be on the game. The focus is going to be on the person that said, I don't care, I don't know, or no. And slowly but surely, you watch that mob mentality start growing. Because if even 15 or 20% of the people around you agree with that, and they want to jump on the bandwagon, just like we've seen all of these looters, it only takes one to break the glass. And here comes the mob. They will rob, loot, and burn whatever they don't like. Now put that in a baseball, football stadium, basketball court. It won't be about the game. It's going to be about your political beliefs. And there is going to be violence in the stands. And there is going to be blood in the stands. And that is where we're headed. Is that really what you want? Do you care about the people sitting 5 rows down, 2 rows behind you, hell, even in the next seat, what their political opinion is? Or did you go to the game to support your team? It is going to be real hard to support your team when there are those of us that see that flag up there. It's not a state flag. It's not a country flag. And as the author of the article, Stephen, said, did he get his name right? Look it up real quick. John, excuse me. As John said, what other flags do you want flying above your stadium? Drill Baby Drill Arena? Fracking Stadium? Life Begins at Conception Field? And I just heard Bezos bought a stadium and changed it to Climate Something Change. Oh, there it is. Climate Pledge Arena. Is that really what we want? We want to go back to the propaganda of the USSR and Nazi Germany, and it's in your face every day, and you can't get away from it? If that's the case, sports in the United States is doomed. And that's not what I go to a game for. I go to forget about all the problems, whether it's finances, whether it's relationships, and especially politics or news. I don't go there for that. I go there to take in the game and enjoy the game and forget all of the problems. It is the only escape we have in this world of mass technology and 24-hour news. It is a constant bombardment. I don't see it changing anytime soon, but damn it, the only thing I care about at the ballpark is a beer, a dog, a scorebook, the friends I'm with, and the game. That's it. Because that way I can relax, I can recharge, and I can enjoy the few hours it takes for the game to be played to be myself and not worry about being labeled. Sports and politics in our face is a very bad idea.